We got some great questions lined up. Post yours down below and let's begin. Hey Alex, when doing my main leg exercise on volume day, would 10x3 on conventional sumo floor deadlifts be okay for safety versus 3x12? Thanks man, keep the content coming. Yes, this absolutely works. In fact, it's something that I do many times on my volume days because it makes sense from an injury prevention standpoint. Pulls from the ground are very taxing on the lower back. And when you're doing higher repetitions, and 12 is pretty high on a deadlift, form breakdown can occur which increases the risk of injury. I have found that reversing the order, in my case doing a lot of 10x3, although 12x3 works too, it solves the problem. And from a hypertrophy standpoint, we already know, it's already been established that you'll gain just as much muscle mass. The only difference is that if you're using a higher percentage, it'll take longer to complete. All right, and obviously that's a bit different from true volume work, if you ask me. I would say a lower percentage is more appropriate in that case, as what you would see in a dynamic effort setup, or maybe a moderate range between 65-75%, but nonetheless, if you reverse the order, say comparing 3x10 versus 10x3, the total volume is still high. And if you induce progressive overload over a long period of time, serious gains will be made. So the way that I usually like to do it, 10x3 on a pull, or 10 sets of 1, that works very nicely. And then for block pulls and stuff like that, that's where I up the reps. So I'll do a 5x5, which is still not really up there. If I'm going to go higher on the reps, man, like be a rack pull or a block pull, I'm not too close to the ground. Or it'll be like an RDL. There I feel very comfortable doing high repetitions, whether it be dumbbell or barbell, whatever. So anyway, to answer your question, yes, you can reverse the order. It's perfectly fine. What I've usually done on my volume days, and it works great when you're pulling from the ground specifically. Although you can use any height if you choose to. Hi Alex, thoughts on mass gaining supplements? They do work, but oftentimes tend to be filled with garbage. Okay, so you really want to pay attention to the ingredients and make sure that you're getting a high quality brand. Like, don't settle for cheap garbage. Okay, and even with that, like, do you really need a mass gaining supplement? I mean, just consume whole foods. What are you trying to accomplish here, right? Watch my videos on boosting appetite. Check out my videos I made on efficient weight gain. You don't have to be in a massive surplus. So I recommend a whole food diet, okay, with a little bit more at the end of the day. So a 5% surplus, take it from there. And for that, you will not need a mass gainer supplement. You just don't. You can just increase the caloric needs through other types of smoothies, or just adding a few more ingredients to your meals and all that. So mass gainers are not necessary, and I'm not a fan of most of them because they're highly processed and they contain a bunch of ingredients that you don't need. Okay, so you really want to pay attention to that. And yeah, those are my thoughts. You don't need it, bro. Hey Alex, I use your Novice program for about 1 month now, but I'm stuck at 220 for the box squat. Is that a problem? Well, look, what's your starting point? Because reaching 220 pounds in a fast amount of time like that, I mean, you got pretty lucky if you ask me. Either you have really good genetics, or you already had a base level of strength from previous activities, or your box is too high. So in a sense, you're not really making the gains that you're claiming you are. So in that case, I would drop the height of the box and do it properly. But I'm going to assume here that it's a nutrition problem, okay? You probably just got lucky with genetics. You had a nice little surge of strength because it was a new program and you were new to the lift and you experienced some really fast newbie gains, okay? You're still going to get them, but it was that extra little bonus, right? A truly untrained individual, right? And now the progress slowed down because the other factors aren't in play, okay? So I'm going to say nutrition is highly suspect in addition to sleep. I'm not going to blame the program. I'm not going to say you're using too high a volume. It's only been 1 month, bro. So it's hard to pinpoint the exact features here. But based off what you're telling me right now, I would strongly suspect that you're not eating enough food. So just up the calories and everything should be just fine. It's only been 1 month, bro. Is 1 year enough to get yoked starting as a solid intermediate? I'd say so, actually, yeah. First of all, when you pass novice phase, you're going to have a good amount of muscle mass, a good base. And then intermediate, you start specializing. Maybe you run my naturally enhanced program, or you just specifically target the neck, traps, or back, shoulders, forearms, and glutes. And you dedicate an entire year to this. Like, that's hardcore, bro. Especially the neck, like, that's more than enough time. Real talk, for the neck in particular, that's stupid, strong neck, 100% guaranteed. Most you can't. That's a fact. The traps, that's going to take a little bit longer. And then the shoulders and the upper back, depends how strong you get, right? Depends how good your programming is, depend on your individual genetics and other factors that I can't really control. But I'm going to say 1 year is pretty solid. Like, if you're straight into the intermediate stage, right, you're still going to have another solid year of, like, fast progress for the most part. It's not as slow, okay? We're not talking about the advanced level here where you're barely adding anything to your lifts and you've already acquired most of your muscle mass. By that point, you're probably already yoked in the first place, right? So I'd say now is the optimal time. And 1 year, bro, like, that's something. You'll probably get yoked. I would say high chance. Maybe you're not going to be at the ultimate level, but you're definitely going to improve big time. Now, I strongly recommend that you take before and after pics, especially the neck. But honestly, your traps, your shoulders, everything's going to get better. Like 1 year is a lot of time for an intermediate. Trust me on that one. Hey, Alex, if I train my neck without also training my traps, will I look disproportionate? I'm not a fan of shrugs, so I don't do them, but I'm considering neck training, but I don't want to look disproportionate. Okay. No, you're still going to look amazing. And I would say the neck is more important than traps. In fact, if you look at some of the most attractive men by society standards, right? Or a lot of Hollywood actors in particular, they tend to have the wide necks, but they don't got the big traps to go with it. I see more guys with wide necks with small traps than the other way around. Real talk. So if you just train your neck, you don't want to have stupid huge traps, that's perfectly fine. It's still going to enhance your aesthetics in a major, major way. It's honestly number one. It really is. Like, Photoshop your neck. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. It's the ultimate way of enhancing like the masculine edge to your face, you know? And facial aesthetics are very important. So if you got that neck that's getting wider, you got the right haircut, the right beard style, maybe you're leaner as well, you're not too fat in the face, like, bro, we're really getting up there in terms of aesthetics, okay? That said, if you did want bigger traps, you don't have to shrug to do it. There's a bunch of other exercises that will accomplish this. Try rack pulls of various types. Try doing some cheat rows. That'll help. And even the neck extensions will be helpful in building up your traps. But try rack pulls. Seriously, just try them. And I think that's going to help out your traps a lot. Or just farmer walks, you know, way to stretch. You don't have to do the shrugging motion. No, you don't have to. Hey Alex, what are your thoughts on running upper lower 6 times a week, 3 upper, 3 lower using a heavy light medium setup? In terms of results, it's going to work very well. No question about it. But in regards to efficiency, I mean, that's your choice, really. Because I can easily go in the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full body workout, heavy light medium, done. And I will get the same muscle protein synthesis as you. And I would argue less beat down on the overall body because people don't understand it's still the same nervous system, okay? Yeah, it's divided. The training sessions are not the same, but there's always going to be a certain amount of overlap and you're still stressing yourself out on a consistent basis, much more than a full body 3 times a week. Just straight up, full body 3 times will offer you better recovery. So I would really opt for that instead. But let's be honest, the way you're suggesting it works great as well. It's just, it's not as feasible if you ask me. But you could do it, no problem. Although if I were to do an upper lower personally, I would just do the classic, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and then Thursday, Friday, weekends off. Done deal, no complications, and it'll be similar to a full body twice a week in that sense. And actually for concurrent, I believe it works better because you gain the 72-hour split recovery. But hey, you do what you want, it's going to work just fine. There's too much investment in terms of time. Alex, bro, I hate neck sore while doing neck curl. Any advice? But I don't matter if I have sore doing reverse neck curls. So, all right, bro. If you're getting constantly sore, you're probably not stretching beforehand. Okay, so I recommend that you do dynamic movements. So move all the way down, left and right. I mean, I've made videos on this, so check it out. Right, my segment on neck imbalances in particular. So do that. But most importantly, you want to train your neck a little bit more frequently. How often are you doing it here? Because problems will mostly occur when you lack frequency. So for the neck, try every 48 hours. That's a good starting point. Or just do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, leave it at that. Like, the thing is, you want the frequency in there, right? Another thing too, is your tempo really slow? Because maybe on the neck curl, right, you're trying to emphasize that way to stretch, so you're really taking your time on the way down, and you're pausing at the bottom. So you're getting that stretch, right? It could be that. It could be a case that your form is just more strict and using a slower tempo, and therefore you get more sore. So I would speed that up a little bit. Okay, so faster tempo on your neck extension and neck curl, all right? And then higher frequency, the soreness is going to go away. Plus the stretching, all right? Alex, what do you think about behind the neck pull-ups for traps? I think it works, but it's not a safe exercise, so I don't recommend it. Just behind neck movements in general, I'm not a fan of, man. I used to preach this back in the day. I used to think that it was an issue of mobility. But after watching Athlete Nexus video on anthropometry and behind neck presses, it completely changed my perspective. In fact, I removed the behind the neck movements from Naturally Enhanced completely, even though they are very fucking effective. And I must emphasize that they work, okay? Behind neck pressing, behind neck pull-ups, they're fantastic. I can't say anything bad about the effectiveness of the movements. But in terms of what it does to your shoulders, I can't recommend it, man, because I don't want you guys getting snapped up. So you could do it if you want. It's on you, man. If you think everything's going to be fine, go ahead. But that's not an exercise I plan on doing in my training. And even if it does build you up your traps a little bit more effectively, then I still say it's not worth it because you don't want to get hurt, all right? But you do what you want. If I only have access to a gym that only has power racks and straight bars, what are some good OHP variations? Obviously can't do cambered, log press, etc. Thanks, man. Well, I don't have those bars either, man, except for my football, but I don't use it that often. Listen, just play around with the grip widths and the pauses. Like, people try to complicate the variations when you don't have to. You could if you want, but you don't have to. So do close grip overhead press, wide grip, pausing at the chest. Do pin heights, so off the chest, right about the chin, here, here. Maybe even do a progressive range of motion. You can throw on bands in there too. Work on any power rack for the most part. Push press is another one, although might not be the most specific for your strict. Then there's the Z press. You can do that on the ground. Like, there's all kinds of options, bro. You don't have to. Like, specialty bars are very, very nice. They really are. But you don't need them whatsoever, okay? You'll do fine with just making little adjustments. That's all you got to do. Simple stuff. Can I do lower back and abs and naturally enhance with the neck and connective tissue work on a mini home workout and not on the main workout? Will hurt recovery in any way? Depending how aggressive you go with it, yeah, it might hurt recovery. Like, why not just do it at the end of your workout, man? Because you don't feel like it? Bro, I get it. I've been there. Trust me. I know what it's like. But lower back and abs is so important, especially if you're doing heavy pulls. If you're doing a lot of weighted pull-ups and stuff like that and not really overloading so much, then I'd say it's more acceptable. But if you're really pushing the limits of naturally enhanced, like, I would throw in the lower back and abs 100%. It'll greatly enhance your recovery and you'll feel better and it makes you safe, okay? And I wouldn't do it the next day for the simple reason that we're still pushing our accessories hard, okay? You saw my video on isolation mistakes. You understand that a lot of guys just do it as a little fluff, you know? It sounds to me like that's how you're approaching it. You're going to end up just half-assing the next day, and it's also going to interfere with your recovery a little bit. So fuck that. Just do it at the end of your workouts, and the next day you do your mini home with the band good mornings like I showed you, right? You're perfect. That's going to be the least draining way to make gains on this routine. That said, would it work, would you tell me? Yes, it would. It's just not something I advise personally. Yo, Alex, which bell would you recommend for weighted chin-ups, dips, etc.? Would really appreciate you helping me out. Love the content. Greetings from Germany. Well, much respect from Canada, bro. Listen, it doesn't really matter what belt you get. As long as it does the job effectively and it's not going to snap on you, you're good. The one that I got was very inexpensive. And I've already loaded over 350 on a loading pin, okay? So, and obviously I didn't do pull-ups or dips on it, but I've done it. I've put heavy-ass weights. And it doesn't break whatsoever. It's perfectly fine. Now, am I risking something here? Maybe, but I would say dip belts are made pretty good these days, you know, and just get a standard one off Amazon or get the one off Rogue Fitness. You don't need like a super high-end dip belt, in my opinion. Although it might change in the future. If my shit snaps, then I'm going to give you a better recommendation. Like I know for neck training, you got to get a high-quality harness, 100%, or else that shit will get you snapped up. But for dips, whatever's available in the market, man. I'm sure there's lots of good dip belts in Germany, you know, so don't worry about it so much. What do you think about not doing deadlifts or any pulls, no adjustable racks for that matter, and only doing hyperextensions and dumbbell RDLs for posterior chain? I hurt my spine in the past doing deadlifts. That's why I regard health higher than strength. Well, I can understand your concerns, and if you do have a injury that you wish not to aggravate, even if there are solutions to still pull, I'm going to say, you know what? Just follow your intuition and do what you got to do, right? You're asking me, can you build a nice body without pulls? Yes. The powerlifters will tell you otherwise, but that's just not true. It's fucking bullshit, man. A lot of bodybuilders don't do any deadlifts whatsoever. You don't have to do it. Is it helpful? Yes. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Pulls are fantastic, okay? But honestly, if you get very strong at the weighted pull-ups, which you can effectively do, even with your bad lower back, and then you do little posterior chain exercise like the RDLs, which are super, super effective. Although I would still call that a pull technically. So you get your RDLs in, you do your hyperextensions. Yeah, you're going to have a great back. No question about it. Especially if you're doing rows on the side, you know? Or let's just say gymnastics in general, or just weighted calisthenics in general. And you can get a nice posterior chain without doing deadlifts. In fact, I would say squats are superior to pulls for just building leg mass. And lunges are extremely effective in this regard, okay? So from a bodybuilding standpoint, I think you'll do just fine without doing that exercise, just straight up. You might just have to include more variations. It'll be a little bit more work. It's not as bang for your buck in terms of exercise selection, but it's still doable. Like hundreds of bodybuilders have done this all over the place, okay? It's not a mandatory exercise. And the guys tell you otherwise are biased as fuck. And they're giving you misinformation. It has good intentions because it's a great exercise, but it's false to state that you absolutely have to deadlift. It's wrong on all levels. It's false. And I would even say doing hip thrusts and glute ham raises and all kinds of other exercises like that are going to help with your posterior chain. So, no, you don't have to pull, bro. We're doing heavy weighted static holds with like 135 pounds in the bag from a pull-up bar build traps. I mean, it might help your traps, but I would say that's more of a lat builder, okay? Or just upper back in general. I'd rather you just do a rack pull above the knee if you want to get the weighted stretch on the traps, you know? Or do a farmer walk. Problem solved. Hey, Alex, do you think that your novice program can last a year? Because I watched an old video of Alan Thrall stating that linear progression works only for 2 to 6 months. Do you agree? By the way, great content. Well, I don't know. Did Alan Thrall actually say this? Regardless, I don't think that's true whatsoever. I think most novices can milk that for much longer, much more than 2 to 6 months. And I know for me, that's how it was. And I've had lots of guys report to me that they're going longer, okay? In fact, there are some people who are really elite in this regard that they can just keep milking it for like a long ass time. So, you know what? I wouldn't even worry about the time frame. It's going to average about 6 to 15 months for most of you. Pretty fucking doable on a linear progression routine. I would say 2 to 6 months, that's a bit too short. Like 2, definitely not. Hell no. Fuck no, bro. 6 months, possibly for some individuals, but I'd say, honestly, you can last a lot longer. Like, really, you could. So, I'd have to disagree with that point, man. Now that I've reached intermediate, I want to start running concurrent. Should I be maxing out in the variation every week? You could. Or could 3 singles at 90% be effective like you recommend? That also works. Also, for my back off set, should I be keeping the reps low? Bro, you already answered your own questions, man. Like, I don't know if I should keep reading this. Yes, all that works, bro. It's all about customizing the routine to fit your own needs, okay? Like, with concurrent periodization, I like to employ the max effort method. I find it's one of the best ways of getting strong, okay? So you max out every single week, rotate the exercise. Very good way. It's perfect for intensity days. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to do 3 sets of 190%, perfectly doable as well. There are some guys who run conjugate type routines that don't even do the max effort method. They're doing 3 sets of 3, 5 sets of 2, stuff like that. Or maybe you want to wave it a little bit. Some guys do that with volume training, like 75, 80, 85%, something like that. So you don't have to do max effort method, but I strongly recommend it. And as an intermediate, you're probably gonna rotate the variation every 2 weeks. And then the back off sets, I mean, it's really simple. Every set, you drop the weight down a little bit more, and the reps automatically go up. Okay, and obviously for intensity days, you want to stick to the lower end, and then for volume days, you want to make it a little bit higher. Okay, so try not to, say, go above 10 reps on your intensity workouts. Volume, back off sets, it could be much more than that. Okay, so honestly, it sounds like you already know what to do, man. Like, you've watched a lot of my videos, you know what's up. I wouldn't stress so much, all right? You got this. Hey, Alex, on the Novice program, I do free squats. Can I do 3x5 on barbell back squats and then 2 sets of leg press to get the 5x5, but have more load on just my legs? Okay. First of all, that's not how I designed the program, but if you're asking, will this work? Probably. Like, real talk, it'll probably work. Do I recommend it? No. Like, if you want to get the extra volume, you might as well just do the 2 extra sets of squats, right? You'll get a better training effect if you ask me. But if you want a nice little hybrid, okay, try it out. I think you're probably the first guy to ever ask me this. Hey, try it out. Let me know how it goes for you. Like, I'm sure it's going to work for gaining size and all that. And it's not going to be crazy on your recovery. You know, I would argue that the extra 2 sets of the squats are going to be harder. So give it a shot, bro. I don't know. I think you should do more squats instead. But hey, try it. I'm pretty sure it's going to work, though. Hey, Alex, what's your opinion on Josh Bryant's isometric bench press plus CAT bench? Thanks. Well, the isometrics, I haven't seen Josh's advice specifically, but I definitely believe in that as well, you know. So you set the pin height so that you're forcing nonstop, you know, and that'll radiate 15 degrees in all directions. So it helps you break through sticking points, right? And of course, they're time tested. A lot of old school grades used to do them, and there's different forms of isometrics. Overall, I'd say they're quite effective, and the science supports it in terms of raising strength and all that. So that's cool. In terms of CAT, this is compensatory acceleration training, right? This is something that Dr. Fred Hatfield popularized. It's basically the concept of moving the bar as explosively as possible, right? It's like speed work, but with straight weight. It's great. It works. And I sometimes do this in my training, but I think that incorporating bands is far superior if you're going to do any type of speed work or just explosive training in general. You're going to get the overspeed eccentrics. You push the bar deceleration much higher, and it just makes more sense. So if that's what you're referring to, again, I haven't seen Josh's stuff specifically on this. I would say you're better off with the bands. Just you'll get a better effect. And for a good reference on that, check out Matt Wenning or Louis Simmons. Hey, Alex, when I'm doing neck curls after a lot of reps, my elbows start to hurt. Why is that? Yeah, you're getting that skull crusher pullover effect in there. Probably grabbing the bar way too hard. And of course, when you have it behind your neck, there is that little bit of stress in the elbow. Like, I recommend you don't grab so hard. And also pay attention to where you're grabbing, okay? Like, it could be that the plates you're using are pretty narrow, right? And you're grabbing from the inside. So now there's a lot more elbow stress. Like, maybe you have a lot of elbow tuck. So I'd recommend flaring it out, okay? It shouldn't be problematic on the shoulders. Just retract your scapula, keep everything tight. But what you want is a looser grip, grabbing towards the edge of the plates instead, and flaring out the elbows a bit. And of course, check out my connective tissue video on curing elbow pain. That'll really address the root issue. Hey, Alex, I want to incorporate Romanian deadlift in my workout, but I feel my back begins to arch when the barbell comes just below my knees. I guess I have stiff or maybe weak hamstrings. Any tips to be helpful? Yeah, all that is possible. You could have some weaknesses, and there could be a mobility issue as well, but I'm going to say it's more likely that your form is off. You tell me your back begins to round when you go below the knee. Instead of bending forward, okay, which is probably what you're doing, you want to shove your ass like as far back as possible. So if there is a wall behind you, try to visualize bringing your ass to that fucking wall, even if you're standing really far away. That's going to help a lot. And from what I've seen in beginners, like, it tends to change everything. I've seen some people, they come in, you try teaching them an RDL and they're just rounding like fucking crazy, okay? But then you give them this cue, arch that lower back, butt to the rear, and it's like their form looks amazing. And now they have no issues whatsoever. And at that point, it's like there is the hamstring flexibility involved in that. You don't have to compensate through rounding lower back. But that again, that could be a factor in your case. You're not flexible enough, so you hit the maximum range of motion with that butt back, but it's still not below your knee, right? So then you compensate by rounding, and now you're good. You see what I'm saying? So it's probably a combination of everything, but try to work on the form a little bit too. And of course, hammer that mobility work. Hey Alex, I have hypermobile elbow. Should I lock out on the way to dips? Every time I do, I lose balance, start swinging. I train planche and my lockout strong though. Yeah, man, I'm in the same situation as you. I would not recommend the complete lockout. Okay, the hypermobile lockout. Instead, pretend that you're a normal person. Pretend that you could lock out like a regular individual. Leave it at that. You're going to feel much more stable. I know what you're talking about. I've tried that before. When I got into gymnastic training, I was hearing everywhere that you have to do these crazy fucking lockouts. And people kept referencing me, these gymnasts that were able to do it. And I tried that, okay? And it felt fucking horrible. It felt wrong, man. So I'd rather just lock out like a regular human being, and that's it, okay? Maybe it's not correct for our anthropometry. Maybe it's not technically full range, but who gives a fuck? It feels way better. I think it's probably safer as well. Just do it like that, man. Hey, Alex, can you do handstand push-ups? I have the strength to do them, but my balance is a serious freaking problem. I always fall over and over and over again. I've tried for months. I've tried the basic variations too of just trying to master the handstand. Like, I don't have balance issues anywhere else, but when I try going upside down and I'm on my fucking hands, I just fall over every fucking time. And my body ends up twisting too. It's like, I don't get it. I've been trying, man, for a long time. I'm probably going to continue, but in terms of doing it against the wall, that's not a problem. Or even a variation where I have a little bit of assistance, doing the full range and all that, that's not a problem. The strength is there. It's just the stability, man. And that's probably the main issue I have with the free version. All right, last question of the week. Advice for growing out a full beard. I'm 19 and desperate to have one grow out. Mine's patchy. Well, bro, it was the same for me. Thing is, it's probably going to improve a lot with age. And 19 is still very young. Okay, they say that your beard peaks at 25, although it'll just continue to get better with age, right? Now, in my case, I actually used minoxidil when I was younger, and I don't regret it whatsoever. It was extremely helpful, and I would strongly recommend it if you want to go down that route. It will enhance your beard like nothing else, okay? For about 6 to 12 months, but some guys go even longer to make sure some of the hairs are terminal. It's not going to fall out, okay? See this? Minox beard, bro. And now that I've been off Minox for a long time, guess what? It keeps getting better. Because now my fucking natural genetics are coming into play. So the age factor is there as well. Like, I'm seeing there's hairs coming behind the ear, which I didn't have before. The chin hair is a lot more dense. The connectors are filling in more. Like, even my beard grows faster than ever before. So there's definitely improvements after Minox. And I would say you're probably going to experience this if you started at a young age, right? Which is what I did. And hey, I don't regret it. Like, I think in my case, I would have had this beard anyway, but I would have to wait till I was a bit older, right? So essentially, minoxidil is like a fucking time machine. That's pretty much what it is. It speeds up the process like crazy. And if you have any dormant areas, it just wakes them the fuck up. So I can say that it worked really well for me. If I can go back in time, I would do it all over again, man. I always think about, like, could I get this beard even crazier? If I go full-fledged minox mode again, And how is it going to look like as I continue age even more? Because I'm still pretty young myself, And I'm always curious about that. Because I know the men in my family, they tend to have some crazy fucking beards. So hopefully mine fills in even more. I want it to fill in here in particular. I want that full fucking effect. And I guess it's a good thing that I don't have all this neck hair, though. Like, it makes everything easier to clean up, right? But hey, it's not about me. I'm just trying to help you out. Listen, bro, get on the Minox 5% topical solution. It's going to change your life. But maybe you should wait a little bit longer. If you want it right now, you do what you want. But your genetics will probably kick in anyway when you're in the 20s. So that's your decision, my friend. Well, then as a last resort, you can check out my DIY beard tutorial. I can't guarantee this will work. It's just based off a study on rats in regards to peppermint. You can put a peppermint and castor oil on your face. I don't know if that's going to work. It's a natural thing, but all I could say is that minoxidil does work. So you do what you want. That's my advice. Hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. Post more questions down below, and I'll talk to you all next week.